Hey Stan, welcome to a podcast show. Hope you're well. So I want to talk about property. As you may know, I've been in property for quite some time, and just come out of property. Thank goodness. And it's different for me because I don't live in the UK anymore. I live overseas, and that's just complicated things in so many different ways. It is literally like walking through treacle, trying to navigate all the taxation. Even though we have a double taxation treaty, which means I don't get taxed in both places, the paperwork for me is just so unbelievably high and complicated. It just slows everything down. So we made a decision to get rid of everything. And honestly, the weight is lifted off our shoulder. In so many different ways. No more tenants, no more boilers, no more boyfriends breaking things, and it's all my fault because I'm the landlord or something. It's crazy, right? But I think for those people who are in buy-to-let, I think the golden age of buy-to-let is over. And I think there is a new age of buy-to-let, and it's different. It's not the same. It's not as easy. It's much, much harder. And I think there are many, many more ways of making good money rather than having tenants, losing keys at 6 a.m. And then when you say, right, well, I'll have to charge a call out for the handyman. Luckily, amazingly, they find the keys. Isn't that amazing? No more of that. I can go on holiday. I don't have any of that. We've moved massively into digital products, and that works really well. But in this session, I want to talk about property because I think buy-to-let's done. We've got Section 24, renters reform bills, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff coming through with licensing, for example. And the councils are a law unto themselves. They think they understand the law. One of our clients is Landlord Defence. And some of the stories we hear about how councils have operated with people who actually have been legal and compliant, and yet the council think that they aren't. And so it's very interesting. But I think if you're looking to get into buy-to-let, I think there are different ways of making money that are useful. So, for example, you put 20 grand on a house. It's worth 120 grand. You've got solicitors' fees and stamp duty and all those extra costs. How much money are you actually going to make off that house? 200 quid a month, £300 a month. And then you've got voids, you've got boilers, you've got maintenance, you've got tenants losing keys, you've got boilers. I said boilers, you've got washing machines, you've got tenants' boyfriends smashing the place up. You've got tenants leaving without giving notice. You've got tenants not leaving and not paying, so it takes you 9 months to evict. You've got all this stuff, and to make £300 a month? That's an awful lot of work to make £300 a month. Or you could go do property sourcing. You could find a deal 20% below market value. You make £3,000 on that, and that one deal would be an annual amount of income that you might achieve as a buy-to-let landlord. That for me, it just doesn't add up anymore as a buy-to-let landlord. Not when there are easier ways of you going out there and making money, such as property sourcing. And I just think that the golden age of buy-to-let, it is done. Now, by the way, it also might be me. I'm in my 50s. I've been doing it 27 years. I'm so sick and tired of it. I can't even explain how sick and tired of it I am. It's that bad. But it's time for me to move on. And we have moved on. We've moved into digital products. When we're talking about putting 20 grand down to make £300, that's crazy. You could create a training course for 50 quid, sell 6 a month, never have to work again, and that, no boilers, no tenants, none of that stuff, and you're still making the same amount. Now, the downsides, of course, is that if you're in property, you're hopefully going to get some capital growth, and that can be quite decent sometimes. But in Leeds, for example, there is no capital growth. I've got a property in Leeds that I bought for 250, it's worth 220. I've had that property 20 years. My daughter's 21. I bought that when I was seeing an ex-girlfriend. And that's more than 21 years ago, more like 25 years ago. That's crazy. It hasn't gone up in value in 25 years. City centre, grade 2 listed building. In fact, it's just cost me loads of money. It cost me 10 grand to have a waking watch. That's a little man to sit there to make sure if the building goes up in flames, he can phone 999. That's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And where does that money come from? You just down the back of your couch, you piff, puff, puff, oh, here's 10 grand, there you go, why not? It's crazy. I've never had a single training course come back and say, oh, my boiler's broken. I've never had a single training course come out and say, my boyfriend's broken all my windows. Or I'm locked out of my house, can you send someone around? Or can you come out at 3 o'clock in the morning. Let me in for free for funsies. Never had that. So I think there are easy ways of making money. We're going to cover two today. One is through sourcing, and obviously being a property sourcer, every property we've ever bought except one, we've bought below market value. I've never paid full market price for any property except one. And the one that I did was a mistake. We bought it for 250, we sold it 220, so we made a 30 grand loss, which was fine because we were able to offset that against some other profits that we made elsewhere on capital gains. And so fine, I didn't mind. It was all right. But every other property we bought below market value. And you don't have to be a sourcer to sell those deals on and make, 2 grand, 3 grand, 4 grand, whatever that's going to be. You don't have to be a sourcer in that way. You could just source, understand how to source, and take those properties for yourself. And then those that you actually don't want, you could pass out to your friends, see if they want to buy them, or you could just sell them for, 500 quid or a grand or whatever it's going to be. And you find the same investors and you just keep selling the same types of deals to the same types of investors. That works really, really well. I'll put the link in down below, of course, for the property sourcing training. It's only 57 quid. It's amazing. The fact that you can create a career off just the investment of 57 quid is just phenomenal. And then you compare that with these weekend courses where you go in and everyone's dancing on chairs and they're all happy clappy, woo, and you don't learn anything other than like basic top level stuff. And you do learn something. You learn to keep your wallet at home, and you learn that if you just buy the next course and the next course and the next course, you will be a property sorter. It's crazy how they just keep on going with this upsell and getting people to spend tens of thousands of pounds when you can get all the same information, if not more, for 57 quid. I mean, it's award winning. We've had so many great reviews of our training. It's off the scale. But why work with tenants in 2026? Who would want to be a landlord in 2026? If I was starting again from scratch, there was no way on this planet would I want to be a landlord. And when I first started out 27 years ago, it was completely different out there. And at the time, I needed 1,500 quid a month. And I knew I could make £150 a month. So all I needed was 10 properties at 150 quid. That'd cover my 1,500, never have to work again. And it did work. It was successful. We did very well. And then Section 24 came out. Poof! A regressive, backdated tax, which meant decisions that I made when I was 26, 27 years ago, impacts my income today, which is bonkers from an investment point of view. And people are like, oh, you just incorporate. Yeah, well, you have to pay stamp duty to incorporate. It's bonkers how that happened. But I don't want to be tied down anymore. Like, why would I be tied to the UK for a start? Why would I be tied to a UK government that suddenly, on a whim, decides, we don't like how you do that, so we're going to make it extremely difficult for you? And whilst people are buying right now, how do you know that in 10 years they're not just going to change something else and backdate that? Nobody knows. There's a good chance that will happen. So for me, this was like, nah, this is not where I want to be. And so we're very lucky because we've been sourcing for 27 years, usually below market value, except this one property. Certainly high yielding properties we were able to source and then sell on to other people for thousands of pounds. And it's like, I love that. You can dip in, you can dip out. You're not getting phone calls in the middle of the night. You're not getting boilers not working. I mean, I just bought a washing machine again, another one today. That'll fail. As soon as the warranty runs out, that washing machine will fail. That's is it ISO 9001, 9001, whatever it is, which basically says it's designed to fail 13 months after you've bought it, because the warranty is 12 months. It's designed to fail. We know when it's going to fail. Yeah, the day after the warranty runs out. I just don't want any part of that. And as we move forward and we become more of a worldwide creature, we are children of the world, not just children of the UK and its shitty rules. We are children of the world, and you can go and live anywhere. And these concepts and these ideas work all around the world. All right, the rules may change and the laws may change, but the concepts of buying below market value, the concepts of negotiating great deals, the concepts of understanding, Yes, Mr. Buyer, what's going on? What problem have you got? You've got a divorce? Oh God, that's shocking. When's that happening? What's that looking like? How's that affecting you? What's it preventing you from doing? In what way is it stopping you from moving forward? If we could find a solution, what would that solution look like that would enable you to move forward in a way that gets you back on track? What is that? What's that going to look like? Oh, okay, right, well, we can work with that. And what if we did it like this? Or what if we did it like that? Well, that's not going to work. Okay, what about this then? What if we did this and we agreed this, but we buy it in 12 months? We rent it from you now and we'll buy it in 12 months. There's all these different ways and all these different options of actually doing this. And if you don't know, you don't know. And you don't know what you don't know. If you don't know, you don't know them, right? So there are many, many ways of doing it. And then the second way of really making money, I think, in 2026, something we're really doubling down on, is the creation of online training courses. Like creating digital assets. Because we know from Rich Dad Poor Dad, don't we? What was Rich Dad Poor Dad's number one rule? An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. Never said anything about boilers blowing up and not blowing up, but boilers failing and washing machines failing and tenants not paying. And they're not assets, are they? So for us, we've been making a big push towards digital assets. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. You create an asset for a couple of £100, you sell it for 50 quid or 100 quid or a couple of £100, and you sell that for the next 6 years. That's an asset. No new roofs, no new front doors, no new double glazing, no having to brick up the window from the kitchen to the lounge because for some reason, even though the house was built in the 1930s and 1950s and nothing's ever happened and there's thousands of these houses, but because you're a landlord, no, I have to brick it up. But homeowners, they can just leave it, because it's one rule for them and one rule for somebody else. But if you've got a tenant who's on benefits, no, they need extra protection than the homeowners. It just doesn't even make sense. Like, I'm all for fire regulation, but how about we make them equal? If I have to have fire doors throughout the house, which you do, you need FD30 fire doors for these back-to-back houses in Hare Hills in Leeds, and the windows bricked up, and you need interlocked smoke alarms. Brilliant! I love that. Wonderful. Oh, what's that? Next door is burning tyres, but that's fine. He doesn't need any of that stuff. It's bonkers. It just doesn't even make sense to me that is the law. That for one house, you have to have all these additional fire regulations, but for the other houses next door that are owner-occupied, they have to do whatever they want. They can literally do whatever they want. It just doesn't even make sense. And so, building assets, building digital assets with like no tie into locking you down and having to speak to council tax and having to speak to the council and having to fill in the forms for licensing and pay them 900 quid or whatever it is. For what? What do I get? What's the benefit I get? Oh, well, we're going to increase the quality of the neighbourhood. This is Hare Hills, by the way. Do you remember the riots a couple of years ago? How did the improvement of the neighbourhood go? Well, we had riots. So it didn't improve the neighbourhood. No. But the council made money. Got it. Right. Okay. So that was why. God, I'm in an argumentative mood today. So this is like really cathartic. It's like, woosah. Buy to let is not worth it. I do not think it is worth it. I used to think, I know some people hate landlords and that's fine. But I used to love, you find a nice family, you give them a house, you look after it, you maintain it. Everybody's happy. I used to love that. I don't love it anymore. It's just not worth it. You get harassed. People on social media hate you. It's just not for me. So now we got rid of all our properties. And if we're going to be in property, we're going to source below market value or source high yielding properties. We'll make 2 to 5 grand per deal. Why would you not do that? It doesn't make sense. And then, maybe we'll take 6 months off and maybe we'll just do 6 months. Who knows? But it gives you the option. And that's what I like. For me personally, and again, this might be just me, and maybe you want to combine both. So you get your monthly income coming in from the properties as you're growing your portfolio, but you've got to be paying down that debt, okay? Absolutely so important. Not just refinancing it, taking more money out and then buying the next and refinance it, because it's just different now. That's what we used to do, but it's different. You've got to be paying that stuff down. And then, as well, you can start purchasing some of these other properties through or not purchasing, but sourcing these other deals, making 3 to 5 grand, and using that money after you've paid your tax to pay down the debt. So powerful. And so I just think there's easy ways of making money. And I just want to cover off holiday lets, because, you know, people are like, well, okay, Dan, great, I understand that, yeah, tenants, boilers, so on. Holiday lets, you still have tenants with boilers, you still have people who might not want to leave, you still have damages, you still have, you know, people wrecking the property through Airbnb, and Airbnb just not bothering to do anything. We had a guy who literally ripped the door off the washing machine. There were 4 of them, builder types, and no, not builders. These were professionals. Ripped the door off. Well, we couldn't open it because you'd not let the cycle finished. So we go to Airbnb. Obviously, they don't do anything, so you have to buy a new washing machine. It's bonkers. But again, the amount of work that you have to do as a holiday let owner is significant. You've got to be there, you've got to move them in, you've got to move them out. Oh, well, you might have a key lock, fine. And your cleaners might do some of that work. It's still very intensive in terms of the amount of input that you actually have to do. It's just not for me. I would much rather create one of 2 things. One is digital products, which is the path we're going down. Love doing that. And the second one is the property sourcing, which again you can dip in, dip out, make some decent money on. And once you know what you're doing and you've got past the can I do it, can I not do it, and you get a couple of sales under your belt and you are flying, it's a great way of making money. Anyway, I have to go. Absolutely rammed today, but I hope you find that really useful. If you've got any questions,